Good evening and welcome. My name is Ward Scotland and I'm president of the Kent Sister Cities Association. Welcome to the 2017 Annual Recognition Night for our Youth Ambassadors and International Festival. Tonight you will hear several presentations about exchanges, and if you find yourself interested or know a good fit for one of our programs, please reach out. You can find more contact information online. On Facebook, our committees have accounts, and the Kent City website has links to our program, as well as media in the Kent Reporter and Kent TV 21. And now please help me welcome our first group of presenters.
Hello everyone. We went to Norway, where the municipalities Førde, Gaular, Jølster, and Naustdal are. I'm Meredith.
And I'm Claire. The reason I was interested in this exchange was, well, I heard about it in an ad, kind of, in my school bulletin, and I have a Norwegian connection with my great-grandma being 100% Norwegian, and my church also has Norwegian and Swedish roots. I was paired with Ava Marie as my counterpart, and she was really great. She was into sports, and she was up for doing anything and trying new foods here. Oh, and if you notice, I'm wearing a Norwegian sweater, and this was knitted by her aunt while I was there, and it's my favorite thing I brought back from the trip, besides the chocolate.
I'm Meredith Stewart. I came from Thomas Jefferson High School on the West Hill, which is across the valley, and I go to a diverse high school, so I would be out of place if I wasn't in a place with different languages where they talk. I saw a ad in the Kent Reporter, and that's how I figured out about this, and I'm very happy I did. I was paired with Gyrid Øygard, who is from the municipality of Jølster, and she is a very sporty person. She is part of their cross-country team in both skiing and running.
So this Norwegian exchange is meant to bring different cultures and perspectives together. As you can see, there's different exchanges, and if you go to Norway, the ambassadors come here for 2 weeks, and then we go there for 2 weeks.
The exchange has been going on for about 21 years, and it's a year-and-a-half commitment, roughly. The process is you go in and you apply, you go in for an interview with the council members, and then you do a home visit. And then there's also a couple costs. You can make the trip as much fun as you want with as much money as you want to spend, both here and in Norway. And also, the committee pays for half your airfare, so that's a good thing. Jølster and Naustdal and Gaular and Førde are in the western part of Norway, along the western fjords. It actually encompasses the Sognefjord, which is the largest fjord in the world. We went down a couple of the other little fjords too.
It was really cool to see those waterways.
Yeah.
So some of the things we did in Kent is we went up to the Space Needle, and we did a bunch of other big city things. We went to a Mariners game, but one of the most fun things we did was we had a 4th of July party at my house, and I think it was fun for them to see kind of how we celebrate our Independence Day, and it was fun for everyone to get dressed up in red, white, and blue, and just to enjoy American foods.
There was also a funny story where her exchange partner decided to try oysters for the first time.
Yes, that was very fun. That was also downtown. We went to this really cool restaurant called Elliott's, and that's where Meredith's dad used to work as a waiter, and we tried a bunch of seafood, and that was pretty fun, except for when Ava had trouble eating oysters.
Yeah, she kind of spit it out on the plate with a big noise. So
in a fancy restaurant. Yeah. That was fun.
Again, we went to the Mariners because her dad got tickets for us, and they enjoyed it immensely. I remember my exchange student decided that her favorite player was number 23 because that's her lucky number, and that's the only decision and reasons she went off of. So, Go figure.
That was pretty fun because they don't play baseball at all in Norway.
Yeah.
And another thing we did while we were here is we went to Alkei Beach, which a lot of you may know, and we went swimming a little bit because it was pretty cold, but we kind of just laid on the beach and Max made a few sandcastles, so it was fun because our siblings were, well, not fun for us necessarily, but our siblings were there, but it was really fun for them to get to know the Norwegian people, and I think the Norwegian girls really enjoyed getting to know them too.
Yeah, do not exclude your siblings in this. The family is part of the whole fun with it. And if I hadn't known my exchange student's sister, I don't think I would have had nearly as much fun. She's one of the funniest people I've ever met. So
She was
don't
really
exclude
nice,
your
too.
family.
Yeah.
Our arrival in Norway happened at, I think, 6 there. It was really late for us. It's somewhere around midnight for us. So we were jet lagged and we were ready to get going, and it's a 3-hour drive to where we were.
But it was definitely worth it. And in Sunnfjord, some things we did is Ava and I drove over to Meredith's and Gyrid's commune of Ulster, and we went whitewater rafting, which was one of the most fun things we did. It was pretty funny because we kept getting stuck on rocks, but it was a good challenge. And we also did a ton of hiking while we were there, and on the right you can see a picture of us about halfway up this really long hike/climb called Via Ferrata.
The climb at Via Ferrata was definitely by far my favorite piece. Mm-hmm. You are climbing up the sheer side of a mountain with like inch-thick cords holding you onto it. So when you look down, you're literally looking down. It's 180 degrees down. So you see the whole valley and you see all the fjords and the lakes and the houses. If you're scared of heights, it's kind of nerve-wracking, but
Yeah. That was also my favorite part, too.
Yes.
'Cause it was such a sense of accomplishment once we got to the top, and they had this really cool kind of glass building so you could look down and look over the side of the mountain at the valley below.
yeah. There was even a jumper there where you have this big suit on and you jump off the cliff and then you just like soar down to the bottom. It was I don't want to be him, but good for him. So a few more pictures. The one on the left is the look down from Via Ferrata, the climbing trip. And then another one was in the commune of Ulster, where you get to look through their fake fjord because it's not connected to the actual ocean.
Yeah, there was a lot of beautiful water and a lot of beautiful hikes when we went. On the left, there's a picture of me and a cow licking me, kind of. We went and visited Gyrid's uncle's cow farm, and that was really fun because we got to pet a bunch of baby cows, and it was just so fun. They were so cute, but we had to wear those suits because they try to lick you, but it was so adorable. I didn't mind.
One cautionary thing is when you get back to the airport, they always ask you if you've been in contact with farm animals. It's nerve-wracking when you go up and tell them yes, and then they're like, okay, did you feel bad when you came back? And you're not like, no, it's fine. And they just let you on through. But just be prepared for that, because they're going to ask you if you've gone to see any farm animals, and I almost froze up, so.
Yeah. And then on the left, here's another hike, and we all did this together, which was really fun. It was my host family and Meredith's host family, and we went and saw this glacier, which I believe is part of the biggest glacier in Norway. It's technically a national park. So we hiked up, and it was a really hot day, but once we got to the top, we all started taking off our sweatshirts because the glacier was so huge, and it became so cold up there just because of that. And it was pretty cool because we went and touched the glacier. And there were even people kind of snowshoeing up it at one point. That's cool.
The picture on the right is of myself and my exchange student Gyrid, and we're on the Sognafjord, the largest fjord in the world. We were heading down and farther inland, so we had a couple little adventures there, and that was a lot of fun.
And we have a picture of us with our families. So on the left, it's my family with our exchange student Ava, and on the right, it's Meredith with her host family. And it was a really nice experience for us to get to know our host families better, and for our counterparts to get to know our families better. I think we all had a different relationship, but it was nice to, make a connection with somebody who lives in a different place.
Yeah, I will forever remember this. I remember having to hassle my dad about going on one of these trips, and he finally gave in, and I'm happy it was this one. I don't think I would have gone anywhere else.
And we'd just like to say tusen takk to the Norway Committee. We couldn't have done it without you, and we really appreciate this opportunity. Thank you.
Tusen takk.
Tusen takk.
Good evening. We are the Yangzhou Ambassadors of 2017. This past summer, we went to China for 3 weeks followed by 3 more weeks in America with our partners.
So my name's Kira Long, and I'm a junior at Kent Ridge High School.
And Jenny Sizemore, and I'm also a junior at Kent Ridge High School.
My name's Kevin Liu. I'm a senior also at Kent Ridge High School.
I'm Santiago Valcarcel, and I'm a sophomore at Kent Ridge High School.
So my partner's name is Christine, and a cool thing about her is that she's really interested in going to school in the U.S. for college, so I know I'll probably see her again.
My partner's name is Wendy, and she's super sweet and just absolutely terrified of roller coasters, but yet she went bridge jumping with us, so that was pretty awesome.
My partner's name is Bruce. He really loves to run and also really cares about his family.
My partner's name is Corey, and he, like me, is funny, goofy, and athletic.
So the city we stayed at for most of the time was Yangzhou, and in Yangzhou and just most of China in general, they use a lot of e-bikes, which are little electric bikes that kind of look like electric scooters. And one of the cool things about e-bikes is that they'd sometimes have their very own roads separate from where the cars would drive. And another cool thing is that it wasn't very uncommon to see a family of 3 or 4 squished onto one tiny e-bike.
Traffic in China was really crazy, and what made it crazy was that there was like no rules there, so anyone could drive there anywhere they wanted. And I believe that no one here in the U.S. could drive in China because they would crash easily.
And for all you plant enthusiasts out there, Yangzhou is also home to one of the largest selection of plants to purchase in the world. So, yeah.
Me and Santiago and our partners had the opportunity to go to this really beautiful temple, which you can see in the bottom right picture. And at that temple, there was this tower, and you could see the entirety of Slenderless Lake at the top of it, which is how I got the second picture underneath the bike. And it's just really beautiful.
And in China, they also had a lot of malls, so in the bottom middle picture, that's a cool inside mall that we saw, which was like 4 stories tall. And the meals in China were usually a bunch of small dishes that would be shared, and they'd all be served over rice mostly.
So I'm a vegetarian, but eating in China was not difficult. There was a lot of soup, vegetable, and rice dishes. My favorite was this egg and tomato soup, which is actually like nothing I've ever had before. And with that, the Yangzhou fried rice, which is like their specialty. And you can get it here at 99 Ranch. It's really good.
My personal favorite was rice and noodles because it was the most common. You could find it anywhere you want it, at any store, at any restaurant. And you could eat it breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Something cool Bruce fed me was pufferfish, but it was detoxinated. But I did have some kickback after I kind of forgot what he said and chewed the skin, and it got a bit prickly.
So when we were in China, we saw a lot of animals, and there was like typical animals that you would find here, like in the wild. But the thing was, over there, they'd mostly be in cages being sold in like pet stores or just out on the streets. So we saw lots of fish, turtles, birds, rodents, and puppies and kittens being sold. We'd also see just like dogs hanging out in malls with their owners, so that was cool. And another really cool thing I saw was a cricket just being sold in a little cage like in Mulan, so that was one of my favorite things.
We also saw some monkeys at the end of a hike, and that was pretty cool to see because you never get to see some monkeys. We also attended a Model UN conference, and that is when a group of people gets together and you get to represent a country, and it was for 3 days. It was at our partner school, and the topics were women's reproductive rights.
So in the conference, there was actually 2 different ones, one for English speakers and one for Chinese speakers. Our English-speaking conference had about 20 or so Chinese students, and they actually had really good English for talking about women's reproductive rights. And it was led by this 15-year-old and 16-year-old Canadian student who were also Chinese but did Canadian exchange. And that was really cool to meet people from around the world too.
We went on this bus tour to the city of Shanghai, and it was for 3 days, but the second day was really fun because we went on river rafting, and after that we went up this hike. It was like 3 hours, and it was really hot, and that made it very difficult to hike up the mountain.
So river rafting was super fun. Me and Kira shared a boat, and we were provided with like these squirt guns, and it was totally acceptable to just squirt anyone on the river rafting. But we also had water pails, so we actually pailed our boats in, like we made our boats sink with the water. And people were at first confused by this, but then they started helping us drown our boats and recorded us, and it was really funny.
We also saw a cool bug. We saw a praying mantis when we were on our bus tour.
We all got to climb some of the Chinese mountains, but unlike our mountains around here, everything from the art, the scenery, to the trails is all carved out of stone. And it's really cool, but if you do go, get used to stairs.
So when me and Santiago and Jenny went up to the mountains, we climbed upstairs on a hike for about 3 straight hours, and that was extremely hard. But at the end of it, we got to slide all the way down the mountain on a stone slide, so that made it all worth it. And Nanjing was the neighboring city to Yangzhou, and it was about an hour's train ride away. And so me and Jenny and our partners took a ladies' trip there together, and we got to see the porcelain tower and the museum for the porcelain tower. And one of the coolest things in there was that there was this giant color-changing room that was filled with lots of different colored lights. And it made for a really good photo opportunity, so the top 2 pictures are pictures of the color-changing room.
So in the museum, they also had stories painted on the walls, and these stories depicted a moral. And in the bottom right picture with like the flowers on the walls, Wendy interpreted this as to not be greedy. So I thought that was really cool, and they're really pretty.
Now, while the ladies went to Nanjing, Bruce and I went on our own trip at a later date, and we got to go to the founder of the Republic of China's tomb, which is an exhibit in Nanjing. Unfortunately, the day we went, the exhibit was closed, so we kind of took that picture in the middle bottom and skedaddled on to the next spot.
So we also had the opportunity to meet with the Yangzhou city mayor, and while we were in the office, they just asked us about how Kent differed from Yangzhou. And it was really cool because there was a translator there, so everyone understood everyone perfectly, and it was also like really exquisite in there as well.
Now, we also got to exchange gifts with the mayor of Yangzhou. We presented him with some treats and candies and such from the Puget Sound, and he presented us with this authentic Yangzhou paper cut art of the Chinese zodiac. So it's really cool, actually. Shanghai is the city we flew into when going to Yangzhou. It's also very internationalized, so if you walk around, it won't be hard for you to find somebody who speaks English. Another cool thing, if you direct your attention to the bottom right picture, that is a public air conditioning thingamabob. So they're placed around places where people can walk or very populated, and you can just gather around it and it'll blast cold air at you for the hot days. And the bottom 2 pictures on the left side just kind of show what kind of foot traffic you deal with when you walk around Shanghai. And it's very crowded and a little claustrophobic, but fun.
So sadly, the trip was over, but the fun didn't stop. We went laser tagging, we went on a trip to the UW, we went to Lake Wilderness, we went to Deception Pass, and we got to go around Seattle.
Another thing we did as a group was the 8 of us took an overnight in an RV up to Mount St. Helens. And it was cool because our partners, for some of them, they got to experience camping in tents for the first time. So that was new for them. And these are just a few of our group pictures and other pictures from our trip.
So we'd like to say thank you to the City of Kent for sponsoring this amazing program, and thank you to Mayor Suzette Cook, who's retiring this year. It was really fun to meet her with our students.
Also, thanks to Mr. John Holt and Mr. Ward Scotland, who arranged and gave us the ability to participate in this activity, trip.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Chloe Kim.
And I'm Olivia Cowley, and we're here to present our trip to Norway this summer with our soccer team.
Our team that went to Norway consists of 15 players from the Kent area. Throughout the year, we fundraise a lot to help with the trip expenses, and it brought down the cost a lot.
When we arrived in Norway, we were all exhausted and jet lagged, but there to meet us in the Bergen airport were some of our host families. It was really relieving just to see some friendly faces and knowing that they had taken their time to come 3 hours out of their way, plus a 20-minute ferry ride just to meet us there. So we took the 3-hour bus ride and 20-minute ferry ride back to the town of Galler, where we met with all of the host families.
Once we met with our host families in Nostell, we couldn't wait for the fun to start. On the first night we got into Nostell with our host families, a lot of us just went to bed because we've been up for over 24 hours. But the next day we were ready for the week to start. On one of the first days we went to Nostell, we visited the town Firda, and we did a lot of touristy things and saw a lot of different things that the town had to offer. The top right picture in the corner was taken outside the mayor's office that we toured, and it was just cool to see where the city of Firda is from. We also went to the malls that were in there. It was really cool to see the similarities and differences that our malls have compared to their malls. One similarity was that when it came to the stores really weren't all that different, but the amount and quantity of the things inside the malls was drastically different from the people to the stores. On another day, we went on a boat trip around the fjord and visited a lot of tourist sites and views. It was really cool to see the mountains in the water, and it was just a lot of fun to travel around. My favorite part of this day was that at the end we were able to jump off the boat into the water, and we were all so excited until we reached the water and it was freezing cold. But that didn't stop us from doing it over and over again because it was just a lot of fun. And we're able to say that we jumped into a fjord, which not a lot of people can say. On one of the last days, both teams came to my host family's house because they had cabins on the water. And that was just a lot of fun for both the teams to bond. We played a lot of games and did a lot of activities such as kayaking, fishing, swimming, and playing volleyball, soccer, and just overall bonding with the two teams.
That was one of my favorite memories from Nostell as well, but the only thing that that made it a little bad was I got poison ivy. Me and my friend, we were running to go play volleyball with everyone, and we ran through some ivy, so that was a fun experience. In Nostell, we also played a lot of soccer. The first day that we had gotten there, the first full day that we had there, we had a soccer practice with the team. So again, we were all super exhausted, but we were super excited just to see how they ran their practices and see the comparisons to how we played the same game. We also had one of our own practices during the week, and then our final day in Nostell, we had a huge tournament where teams from Galler and from Nostell came. There was the boys and the girls team, and the adults put together a team to show off their skills. It was really fun because we ended up mixing the teams, so we were able to play with them and against them to just bond with them, and it was an overall good day. And so from there, we went with our families from Galler. In Galler, we did a lot of fun activities. We did a lot of hiking, swimming, and kayaking. One of the days, we went to one of our host families' cow barns. So they normally have 300 cows there, but they only had 70 because they're all in the mountains. But that was such a fun day because that's something that we wouldn't get to experience here. We don't get to just go into a barn where a ton of cows are just hanging out and pet them, and they're really interactive with us, so I thought that was really cool. Another one of the things we did was we went bridge jumping. That was a really fun experience because a lot of the girls had never done that, so it was really fun to try to get them to do it with us. We were trying to encourage them and be like, okay, now you go, now you go. That was a really fun thing. And then one of my favorite days was when we went to the waterfall. As we were driving, we were going on the boats up to the waterfall. I just remember being amazed at the size of it. I'd never been near a waterfall that big before. And so that was really fun because we were able to swim under it, and the water under it was warm, which was really different from all the freezing cold water that we had been in before. So that was really fun because we ended up staying there for a couple hours. And another one of my favorite memories was we drove up to this huge lookout point, as you can see in the middle picture, and just seeing how far Norway stretched and just the beauty of the mountains just really made me realize and appreciate the opportunity that I've been given. And on our way up to that lookout point, as you can see in the bottom right picture, we stopped on the side of the road to see hundreds of goats that were just staying there. We got out of the car and they came up to us and we were able to pet them and play with them.
It's like a free petting zoo that over here you have to go to a certain place to get that experience, and here it's just, we came to us and we didn't have to
Some of the girls still talk about that as their favorite part.
Soccer in Galler we had a total of 3 games. Our first game was at the end of the tournament in Nostell, where we played the girls' team. When we played the girls' team, we played a game of 9v9, and it was quite different from what we play here, which is 11v11. Our second game in Galler was against the boys' team. This game was also 9v9, but it was very more competitive. In the end, it was all for fun, but it was still a competitive game, and we still learned a lot. Our last game in Galler was against the girls' team, and we played 11v11. So it was a really cool experience for them to play 11v11 while us teaching them 11v11. And it was just cool to interact with them, having fun on the field, but also having a little competition as well.
And when we played the boys team, we won in PKs. And the last goal that we scored, she megged the goalie. So I don't know if you guys know what that means, but she kicked the ball through the legs. And I remember that moment just because how excited everyone was, and we were all laughing together. And it was embarrassing for him, but everyone else thought it was really funny. It was really hard to say goodbye to both of our families in Nostell and in Galler, but we are so excited because we knew that we would see them again.
The girls' Norway team is planning to come to Kent in July 3rd through the 14th of 2018. 20 girls from Norway are planning to visit. We are so excited to show them what Kent has to offer and what we can take them throughout the 2 weeks that they are here. Some ideas that we have planned are showing them our malls, our theme parks, overall just showing them all we can to fit in within the 2 weeks, and we couldn't be more excited.
We also want to try to take a few small trips either to Leavenworth or Chelan just to show them the different parts of Washington and things that they wouldn't have seen over there. We would like to sincerely thank the Kent Sister Cities and especially the Norway Committee for giving us the opportunity to travel across the world and make these new lifelong friends and experience all the things that we could never experience over here. We'd also like to thank our parents for all of their help and support because we could not have made it over there without them. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Emmy Seaman, and over the summer I went to Tamba City in Japan, and I would like to share with everyone here today about my experience with this aspect of omotenashi in Tamba City. So omotenashi is the Japanese spirit of hospitality, and the importance of this welcoming nature is noticed by many visitors of Japan, and an important aspect of it is respect, and it's very key and emphasized within all ways that demonstrate the idea of omotenashi. So I saw examples of this during the welcome banquet within the people of Tamba City. And in our group, we have people with special food restrictions, such as gluten-free or vegetarianism. But when we told them this, they told us they had already prepared and planned ahead and were preparing the meals as we spoke. So I thought this was a good example of omotenashi because the people of Tamba had thought of us and planned for us before we asked or before we needed to ask. So another example I found within my host family experience, and I love my host family and I love being the center of attention 24/7. And I would tell them what I didn't like or liked once, and if I liked it, I would always have it available to me, or if I didn't like it, I would never see it again. And even if I didn't tell them, they would take the time to get to know me and kind of guide me towards things that I would probably like and away from things that I wouldn't. And this hospitality shows how omotenashi is being implemented into the treatment of house guests in Japan. So things that I saw that were different from the US in Japan was this warm wet towel called oshibori, and this was given out at every restaurant, and I even saw a man handing them out at a mall entrance. And these could be used to clean your hands or face or just refresh. And I thought these were really convenient because of the extreme heat and humidity in Tamba, Japan. And another thing was this customer help button on the right. And this is called a yobirin in Japanese. And this is different from the US because in the US we have waiters or waitresses that will come around periodically and either interrupt your conversation or not be available to you when you need service immediately. But with this customer help button that was in a lot of places to eat in Japan, you would press it and service would come immediately, or if you didn't, you get to enjoy your uninterrupted conversation. So for more complex or higher tech hospitalities, we have this advanced toilet in Japan that is located in a lot of public restrooms. And these just have higher tech combinations for the user and to make their experience better. And on the right, we have this. This is in a grocery store in Japan, just a regular one. And this is a self-service scanner register with a motion sensor inside of it. So when you walked up to it and it would detect you, it would greet you in this cute little Japanese voice. And I thought this was a good example of omotenashi because it wasn't necessary, but it certainly made your experience at the grocery store more pleasant. Examples that I saw in buildings or stores was elevator personnel that would help push buttons for you and guide you and answer your questions. And this seems unnecessary, but it definitely shows the omotenashi way. And then also this McDonald's in Tamba, on the menu it says they're selling smiles for €0. And this is just to ensure that the customers have a happier experience at the McDonald's. And a big event that practically represents the idea of omotenashi that we all experienced in our group was the tea ceremony. And just a little background on tea ceremonies in Japan is that they're not really about drinking the tea necessarily. It's more about how the recipient reacts to the tea and the hospitality of the host for the recipients. And whatever is said or gestured by the recipients is taken very seriously by the host because everything is centered around being hospitable towards the people attending. And finally, to demonstrate this importance of a omotenashi hospitality idea to Japanese culture, I want to relay that this idea was used as a basis for their Olympic hosting bid, and it's because of this idea that they will host the Olympics in 2020 in Tokyo. And so, in summary, I would like to thank the KAT program for allowing me to immerse myself in Japanese culture and really connect with this idea of omotenashi. And I really love this experience. Thank you to KAT, and thank you for listening.
Hello, I'm Nayeli Carsley, one of the Kent Auburn Tamba Summer Exchange Ambassadors of 2017. One thing that interested me was the characteristics of plant life in Tamba, Kent, and Auburn was that they were both similar and different. This was because everywhere you go in the world you can find plants, but to see how the people from the area use them, either decorative farming or for other purposes, truly intrigued me. The main difference that I found were the species, amount, and where they were located. The first thing that I noticed while in Japan was how green the whole area was compared to Kent or Auburn during the summer. This was because Tamba summers are sunny and humid, causing the plants to thrive, creating a bright green throughout the whole city. Tamba is known for their many rice fields between neighborhoods, as well as a beautiful flower known as morning glories, which are found in the top right corner, and the rice fields are in the left. Plants that were commonly found were broad evergreens on the surrounding mountain, long rows of cherry blossoms, kutsu along the bridges and water drains, ferns, maple trees, and many other plant life. Another thing that I found uncommon from Kent and Auburn was that you could find gardens outside almost anyone's house. They were either for decorative purposes or for growing fruits, vegetables, herbs, such as our host grandmother and grandfather's gardens. The top two flowers in that picture is outside of our host grandmother's garden, like outside her house, and it was just so beautiful to kind of see like the scenery around everyone's home. In the bottom right corner, we were on a walk, and we were passing all these gardens growing different types of plants. While during the Kent and Auburn summers, we have quite beautiful green city as well. We have many different types of pines, hemlocks, and maples. We also have hydrangeas and rhododendrons, commonly found outside our houses or in our many parks that are frequently used. One thing about Japan that really interested me was the history behind the plants, specifically Kanonebashi. Kanonebashi is the name of a 1,000-year-old tree, which means a bridge of tree roots, which grows over the Okamura River. This tree was in the middle of town next to the Kaibara High School and Kaibara Hashiman Shrine. When we visited this tree, it amazed me how well the tree had been taken care of and how it had thrived over thousands of 1,000 years. Seeing this just reminded me how important Japanese history and culture is to the city and the people. It is hard to find this kind of monument in many places and to have people so proud of it. I hope to find more of these types of landmarks in both Japan and America because I think it brings the people in the area together and makes them care more for the past. I would like to thank Kent Auburn Tamba Sister Cities Association and the Kent Auburn Sister Cities for making this trip possible. It was just such an amazing experience to be able to stay with another family and the hospitality that they had. So thank you.
Okay, so hi, I'm Erin, and I also went to Tamba over the summer. And while I was there, I focused on the differences in women's fashion between Japan and America, specifically Tamba. One of the major differences between fashion there and here is that they have to wear school uniforms there. And so you can see in the picture, this is Sakura and Meika, and they're wearing their white polos and their skirts and their white shoes. And they couldn't wear makeup or dye their hair or paint their nails or anything that really made them stand out there. So in grocery stores, they didn't even sell anything like nail polish or colored hair dye like you'll see there. So that was one of the things that Sakura was really excited about when she got here, was going to Bartell's and buying a bunch of dollar nail polish. And when we went to Wild Waves, her and one of her friends just sat down in the middle of the park and started painting her nails. So yeah, with my dyed hair there, since no one really does that in Tamba, you can guess that I stood out a little bit. They also sold makeup that was a lot lighter and more natural. So here you'll see it's really popular to have winged eyeliner and falsies for girls our age that are going out and dressing up. And it's a lot heavier, the foundation and concealer, that kind of thing. We really cover up our natural skin, whereas in Japan they like to highlight their natural features more. Probably because they have really nice skin in Japan. So that's an example of Japanese versus American makeup that's popular right now. And then, so going back to clothing, one difference that I noticed was that they really like to dress in clothes that are a lot looser and less fitting to the figure. That was a popular style. So Sakura always wore, when we were just going out on a casual day, she would wear these long, loose dresses that were really good for the heat because you get kind of a breeze and it's just more comfortable because it's so hot and humid there. That might be why the trend came to be. And so here we'll wear tighter and more fitting to the figure. So yeah, she wore a lot of dresses on casual days, whereas we don't really do that as much here. Another thing that I noticed when I was looking in stores is that they like to wear statement pieces in the middle of their outfit, like bows or belts, and that just kind of ties the outfit together. And so yeah, they don't only wear long and loose clothing in dresses, they also like to wear shirts, and you can see Sakura in her little shorts, and she just has like this long, like thick t-shirt on, and I thought that was really unique because you definitely wouldn't see that here. And then when they're dressing up to be more formal, they wear traditional dresses like yukatas, kimonos, and hakamas. We were actually gifted, me and Nayeli, and I think you were too, gifted a yukata? No. Yeah, so our host grandmother gave us both yukatas, and they were wrapped in like these perfectly tied together packages, and it was all like put together, just like there was such strategy to it. And we sat down for like 30 minutes, and she tried to teach us how to tie the little bow together, and we didn't have much success, but so I got to bring that home, and we had a little photo shoot with our yukatas on, and then it came with the shoes that the sandals that you normally wear with yukatas, and the shoes were about this big for little Japanese feet, and her grandma tried to get us to put them on, and we were like, no, those are doll-sized. So yeah, like when we're dressing up in America, we definitely don't go for traditional, we go for modern and usually more like tight-fitting. It follows the trends, and that's what we consider to be fashionable. So this is an example of like a traditional like dress-up time, which is homecoming. And then we also wear heels and things like that instead of sandals, obviously. So in conclusion, in Japan, they wear clothing that is a lot more loose and more modest, and so a lot of things in here in America that are socially acceptable to wear are not socially acceptable there. And so here where we dress, it's less modest in a lot of cases, and there's just more freedom in how you dress in general. So in conclusion, I'd also like to thank the Cat Sister Cities and the Sister Cities program in general. The experience was really, really amazing for me, and I got a lot out of it. And I loved my host family, and I really love this program. So thank you.
Hello, I'm Nancy Skipton. It's my pleasure to be able to be here and speak about the Kent International Festival. I'm the festival director, and it'll be great to be able to share with you about what our festival does. Our festival gives us a place and a day to celebrate our city's heritage and culture, while at the same time learning about the others who live around us. We have the goal to foster a greater sense of community, a feeling of inclusion for all populations, as well as a tolerance among all cultures living here in Kent. We believe we are stronger and more united when we learn about each other. 9 years ago, the legacy of our festival was begun based on these goals. Since then, our festival has grown to become a true representation of the recent immigrants, refugees, those populations, right alongside the long-standing populations that have lived here in Kent for a very long time. Very recently, Kent was listed as being the 10th most diverse city in the country. This was based on a study done by WalletHub. That's pretty amazing that we've become the 10th most diverse city in the country. I love planning the festival and being part of this. I spend much of my days talking about why our festival is important. This year, the video that I would like to show is a compilation of the videos from over the past 9 years. Wow, have we grown. Here's the video.
Welcome to Kent International Festival. And also welcome to Taiwan.
kind of a fulfillment of a dream that I always had that, we have such a great, diverse community, but everybody doesn't really know each other. And what the festival does is it brings everybody to one place where they celebrate who they are, what their traditions, cultures, and they see everybody else's. And one of the things you'll notice about the festival is everybody's smiling and they're comfortable.
It's just an amazing growth over the last 8 years. Working with the city, working with the school district, and just kind of getting everything started. I think it's just amazing seeing all these different people here and how big it's grown.
The headpiece, it's called a dastard in the Sikh faith, and more commonly in English, it's referred to as a turban. The turban, the dastard, is actually an article of the Sikh faith. So underneath the turban, you will see what we have is our long hair, which is another article of our faith.
Can you explain to me how they're dancing and what they're doing?
These are dances of East Africa. We have a number of different countries represented. Some are from Kenya, Tanzania, Uganda. So just from the East African region. And this is actually the East African Dance Club from Kent Meridian High School.
It's right here. As you can see, we have Mauritania, which is north of it, Mali at the east, and the Atlantic Ocean at the west side of the country.
Ángel, tienen tus ojos dos luceros que al brillar reflejan la luz del día cuando empiezo a despertar. Ángel, tienen
The festival has attracted more and more people, both as performers as well as the volunteers helping it, the attendees. In fact, it was real noticeable just a couple years ago to see the shift where there were people from so many of our African and Asian, South American countries that came to watch, learn, and then the next year be part of the International Festival.
Just how to say welcome to International Festival.
ยินดีต้อนรับสู่งาน Ken International Festival.
Salam Shmalkhubi International Festival.
Kwabin Kamala Nwalakat International Festival.
It's not directly translatable, but you have honored me. Daha Dubs Chup. You have honored me.
tell us your name.
Lilia.
Hi, Lilia. How old are you?
3.
And what kind of dress are you wearing?
I'm wearing a red dress under a pink dress.
Under a pink dress. Do you know what country your red dress is from?
Chinese class.
Originally, maybe henna from the India, but also the Turkish people apply the henna at henna night.
I think the International Festival represents Kent. Kent is such an international city. I have said for years now that the world has come to Kent, and it keeps coming to Kent. The reason it does is because this city has an open mind towards others. We open our arms and we open our hearts. And people see that, they feel that, and they want to be part of it.
Our 10th annual festival will be held on Saturday, June 2nd, 2018. The festival will continue to be free for everyone, free to the public, for all to attend. So mark your calendars for the Kent International Festival on June 2nd, 2018. We start at 9:30 in the morning with our multicultural worldwide walk. I want to see all of you there so that you too can share your heritage and be part of the legacy of Kent's wonderfully diverse community. Thank you.